If your first response to Taylor Swift is engaged to Travis Kelce is, did Blake Lively like the Instagram post? Your brain has rotted beyond comprehension. I really don't want to do hair, bag, and shoes on her wedding day. I don't. It's none of my business. Does Taylor Kelce have a ring to you? Well, no. Are the Gaylors ended? Oh, the Gaylors are well and truly ended, and they are having mental breakdowns, the likes of which you have never seen before. Everybody underestimates Taylor's capacity for creative transformation. Tava says, mount your steeds because we have an emergency video today talking about what else but the engagement of Taylor Allison Swift to Travis, middle name unknown to me, Kelce. Now, I haven't done a true emergency video in a while where there's just been like something completely seismic and earth-shattering and groundbreaking that I had to address. Obviously, we had Life of a Showgirl, but this is, messy boots reporting that I haven't done in a while. And I'm excited to reunite you with a familiar old Swiftologist format. I feel like I don't just get on here and shoot the that often anymore. So I'm excited to do that here with you today. Let me just remind everyone that this is not like a criticism video, okay? This is like me just sharing my instant reactions and thoughts and feelings and having a kiki. I'm being a Swiftie, okay? As Madeline would say, I'm from Planet Swiftie, and today I'm trying to do Planet Swiftie. So I asked you guys for some questions about Taylor Swift's engagement to Travis Kelce, what it means for her, how it came about, how the music is going to progress in the future. And you had some really interesting questions, so I want to dive into those. But before I do that, if you are interested in what's going on in the Taylor Nation, you need to be on my Patreon, patreon.com/Swiftologist. In the last 12 hours, we have had a live audio recording from me crying about this development in the Taylor Nation, having a parasocial moment. Madeline also happened to be recording another video, so her reaction video to finding out this news is also up on the Patreon. We are truly churning out content like beat poetry, as Lana would say, and you need to go and be part of the Snake Nation because it's so fun. We have the Snare store coming up next week. We are sold out in Dublin and London. We have new merch coming soon. It is all happening. But today, there's one thing on the agenda and one thing only. And that's Tava Singh. So let's get into it. I vaguely tried to organize the questions by like the particulars of what's happened and the personal implications for me about what's happened, which are few, but some people were asking for my like personal views and opinions. And then also how it's going to affect Taylor's creativity, her career going forward. That's the one that I'm most interested in and the questions that I think are the juiciest. The first question is, do you like the ring? Do you think that it's Taylor coded? And what is the stone used? And what's the carats? I don't know how accurate this information is, but I'm getting all of this from Taylor Swift Styled. This is apparently by Kindred Lubeck and someone else as of custom engagement ring. According to Taylor Swift Styled, jewelry experts have assessed the diamond placed in a 4-prong setting to be about 10 carats, with a reported value of anything from $550K to $1 million. So it's safe to say that the rock on her hand is heavy. The finger is getting tired from carrying around that weight. The jeweler is a female jeweler who specializes in vintage-inspired rings and ethically sourced gemstones. So what do I think of the ring? I think it's stunning. It's huge. She's a mammoth. I'm never going to get engaged in the way that Taylor Swift is getting engaged. So if it were me, I guess I would want something a little bit more low profile, but like she's the most famous person in the world. What kind of engagement ring is she going to have other than something big and flashy? The fact that it's set in like an antique or an antique inspired band, I think really offsets the fact that that diamond is huge. I mean, a diamond's got to shine. There were lots of questions about when this actually happened. Was it the same day as the podcast episode? She has the same jewelry and the same manicure, apparently. So I think I saw someone that worked in like catering in Kansas City say that this happened directly after the podcast recording for New Heights. And so that means that they've been engaged for 2 weeks and not telling anyone. I think that's a pretty good amount of time to keep a secret for. I think it's crazy that it was managed to be kept a secret for so long. I mean, if the caterers knew about it, then I don't know, but that's not a 100% verified source. It was literally a screenshot of a tweet that I saw, so it could definitely be false information. If the manicure and the jewelry are the same, I don't see why he wouldn't have done it after that. How romantic is it to have your man propose to you after you announce your album, Life of a Showgirl? I mean, good work, Travis. Do you think that they'll share the wedding? I thought she would just surprise us. That actually really gagged me. The whole element of her surprising us and sharing it with us at all was so jarring because for so long she has been in these relationships that craved privacy and also kind of demanded a level of secrecy too. And Taylor herself, I mean, apart from being influenced by her partners to be like more low key about her fame, she has separately said that she wants to protect her love life and she doesn't want to like really give a lot of details about it in order to keep something for herself. So I think the decision to share it in this way is, I look at it like this. Usually how celebrities share stuff like this is they'll sell the pictures to like People Magazine or Us Weekly or whatever. Those magazines simply do not have the funds to cough up a lump sum that would satisfy what Taylor would deserve or yield for photos of this caliber. Also, as we know, Taylor has brought pretty much all of her marketing for anything she does in-house. She uses Taylor Nation and her Taylor Swift Instagram account as like her main means of communication. And why should she use anything else? Because all the media outlets and the news stories like pick up that information from her and share it anyway. So going exclusive with one publication doesn't really make sense. She owns the rights to these photos. She doesn't have to buy them back. We know that she loves to own her master recording. So of course she wants the master image. images. I think it makes sense that she shared it on her Instagram post. And I do think that if we hear anything else about the wedding, which was another question, are we going to hear about the wedding? I would imagine that we're at least going to see the dress. I think if she's being this participatory about her engagement, then there will be some sort of interaction between her and the public when it comes to the wedding itself. I am interested that Taylor seems to be like wanting the fans to get involved because the caption of this post is very like parasocial coded. Your high school English teacher married your gym teacher. Like she's directly implicating you in the relationship. And it seems to me that she is definitely, and Travis is doing this too, they're both doing it, leveraging each other's profile and the interest and hubbub around their relationship to individually raise their profiles as celebrities, but also raise their profile as a celebrity power couple. That really seems to be a focus that they're kind of zeroing in on at the moment. So I do think that she's going to be sharing more about the wedding. And I am interested that, in the same breath, she's kind of like, I would never Easter egg about my private life, but she also is telling everyone that she is your metaphorical English teacher. I think she enjoys the goodwill of people projecting themselves onto her. Now, that can go wrong, but we'll get to that in a minute. Who do you think will actually get an invite? Just friends or a bunch of celebrities? We just recorded an emergency episode of the podcast, which you will see tomorrow. But in that, I challenged Madeline to pick 4 bridesmaids. And the bridesmaids that we settled on that we think would be most likely if there were only 4 would be Abigail, of course, maid of honor, Selena Gomez, Gigi Hadid, and Ashley Avignon, who is like the Taylor insider and has been, she's a Tay warrior, has been writing since the dawn of time, essentially. So I think that seems like a pretty reasonable mix of people. Something that I saw a lot of was, well, what about Blake Lively? Blake Lively has like an Instagram post. Enough. If your first response to Taylor Swift is engaged to Travis Kelce is, did Blake Lively like the Instagram post? Your brain has rotted beyond comprehension and no one can help you get out of the predicament that you're in. You're sick, you're unwell, and you need to stop. I haven't thought about that. But who's going to actually get invited? Like, I do think that it's going to be their friends, people that they surround themselves with in their daily lives. To me, Taylor's circle has become so small post 1989. Even with Travis, like her immediate circle of people that she hangs out with has not really expanded very much. So I can't imagine that it's going to be like the biggest wedding ever with a bunch of like random celebrities and like a step and repeat. I think there will be famous people there, but I think that those famous people will have like deep, credible ties to Taylor Swift. So like, I think Jack Antonoff is going to be there. Then Marco Qualley is going to be there. I think Lena Dunham is probably going to be there. Think about the people that she is like actively friendly with and hangs out with and is seen with often. Like those are the people that are going to be invited. Lord's not going to be there. Okay. Zendaya is not going to be there. What will the dress look like based on her style? Girl, I don't know. I really don't want to do hair, bag, and shoes on her wedding day. I don't. It's none of my business. I think she has the propensity to either go like timeless or fugly. Like that really seems to be the poles that she's swinging between at the moment. And if you asked me, I guess 15 years ago, like what is Taylor Swift going to wear on her wedding day? I would say fairy tale princess dress, something akin to the love story dress she wore on the Speak Now tour. I think she's a little bit more mature and progressed than that. I think that she would like to look elegant rather than just regal. So I don't see a big poof in her future, especially also because she spoke about poofy dresses, being like pastries with scorn on the Speak Now, the song. So I could imagine her doing something kind of like, I guess, similar-ish to her Torture Poets dress that she wore by Schiaparelli to the Grammys. Who are the designers going to be? I mean, Oscar de la Renta has worked with her a lot in the past. We have had Vivienne Westwood. I don't think that would be a good idea. Vera Wang, I suppose, is a classic go-to. Ellie Saab. There are a million different ways that she could go. I don't think there's just going to be one dress. I imagine there's going to be like a cocktail party dress and maybe like a reception dress too. I am very excited to see what she's going to wear. I hope that she just keeps it classic. She's a gorgeous, timeless beauty, and we don't need to be doing all that. Whatever all that is, I don't know. I'm curious about the hair. I imagine it's going to be up, but are the bangs going to be down? Are they going to be swept aside? We don't know. I'm excited to learn these things. I am. Will Taylor change her name? I don't ever see Taylor becoming Taylor Swift Kelce. That doesn't seem good to me. I don't think that's a very like brand aligned thing for her to do, especially because her career is so much about like autonomy, agency, her name, owning her name, not having men have any sort of ownership of her whatsoever. And that's not to say that getting married means that a man owns you, but like taking someone's name, I think is a pretty like traditional and outdated thing. It's totally fine if you want to do it and it feels good to you. But I think for Taylor Swift, like just from a public branding perspective, how she is known and how she likes to be received and how she likes her work to be received, I don't really see Taylor Swift Kelce showing up on an album cover. Maybe like legally she might change her name to that, but I think in terms of like how she's going to be presenting herself, does Taylor Kelce have a ring to you? Well, no. Swift is like almost more important than Taylor. Combination of those two words shakes the foundations of this world, and I think that we need to keep it that way. Is this a normal amount of time to have been dating before getting engaged? Sorry, I'm big dumb. I think so. I mean, straight people move fairly fast. I think when you're at Taylor and Travis's age, they are at that kind of period of their lives where if you are so inclined to settle down and get married and start that kind of next step of your life together as a couple, then this is kind of the age, I guess, where you start to really take it seriously and plan for that and you date with intention, etc. So I think that Taylor had kissed enough frogs. She had really been through the ringer with all these men. And when she was dating Travis, she was like, you know what? Now is the time that I need to be serious. And I'm not going to date to fuck around anymore. I'm not dating to have a fling. I'm dating to build something serious. Something that I think is so interesting as well is that, like, on Tortured Poets, it seemed before So High School was added to the record and Travis got on the picture in the scene, Taylor had, from The Prophecy, from Clara Bow, from all these different songs, the manuscript, resigned herself to a fate of not getting married or of maybe being alone for the rest of her life, of maybe being the chronically heartbroken person. And that paradigm shift for her, I think, where she was actually finally starting to accept maybe there won't be someone for me. Maybe I will have to rough out my life alone and it will be just me. It's ironic that, like, when you surrender yourself like that and when you give over that realization, often what you're looking for is attracted right to you. There's something energetic about that. It's a little esoteric, a little woo woo. But I definitely think that because Taylor, like, opened the doors to being like, you know what? If I'm going to be alone forever, let's just call it what it is and let that happen and I'll have fun while it lasts. And then now look what happened. Are the Gaylors ended? Oh, the Gaylors are well and truly ended, and they are having mental breakdowns, the likes of which you have never seen before. And I love to see it. I clap and I cheer. This won't stop them, though. Don't for any moment ever think that real evidence or proof would stop a Gaylor, because that's not what the conspiracy is about. They are interested in their demented reinterpretations of things. They will take the color blue and make it red and then tell you that it's blue. That's their whole thing. So I'm sure that there is a grand meta narrative currently being concocted that this is all fake. It's for PR. Travis is doing it for PR too. There's a contract. Scott Swift is forcing her to do it under conservatorship. Like, the nonsense with the Gaylors never ends, and the outlandish series just get more outlandish. And I think the more fringe it gets, the more people start to reject it and be like, this actually is really messed up. The more extreme it gets, which actually works because it turns off casual people from maybe thinking that this is something reasonable or rooted in reality or fact when it isn't. Many normal people have accidentally gone down the Gaylor rabbit hole. And I think that the crash outs that are currently happening may just prevent new converts from joining. And for that, what can I do but clap and cheer and scream and cry? Perfect storms. Okay, let's talk about the songwriting, shall we? Because that's what I was kind of interested in mulling over. How will Taylor's need for a happy ending now come through in her songwriting? And how will her songwriting evolve in subject matter? So, something that I've said many times, and I think I said this when I was picking all the songs off of her albums that were really definitive, Taylor is the heartbreak chronicler, the reporter of how it feels to have, lose, cherish, and tame love. This is kind of her subject matter. It's her beat. But what I think I've seen Taylor expand on so much, specifically in this latter part of her career, even before Folklore and Evermore, on an album like Lover, where she's talking about such a diverse range of things. Like, yes, that album is about love ostensibly, but it is about other things too. We have a song like Miss Americana, which is about not love, but I guess politics. We have The Man, which is a semi-political, like, girl boss anthem. We have a song like Soon You'll Get Better. And this is where I really want people to, like, start channeling their attention towards songs like Soon You'll Get Better, songs like The Best Day, songs like Breathe. Like, these are excellent, emotive, heartbreaking songs about heartbreak that are not about romantic love. And Taylor has shown us time and time again that she can write about non-romantic things with the exact same clarity of intention and meaning of spirit and intention of creating high art that she applies to her songs about love. I think we haven't really ever had the opportunity to hear her singing about a really healthy love, because the closest we got to, like, the actual in real time chronicling of a love affair as it happened when she was allegedly in it and feeling very good about it, you can feel the anxiety, like, running through Lover. On songs like Afterglow, Cruel Summer, like, those are not songs about, like, a healthy love that makes you feel secure. That entire relationship was about tension and anxiety and feeling like it might go away, and self-censorship and punishment. So that's a whole new angle of, like, love that we have yet to discover hearing from Taylor Swift. I think that because love is her muse, like, that could go on endlessly. We also know that she's perfectly capable of writing from empathy. And we joke about how Swirled You into All of My Poems, like, a lot of those songs on Folklore and Evermore are about, other relationships and situations that she's had. But that doesn't really count her out from being able to write, like, an emotionally resonant song about something that really truly has nothing to do with her. I think The Life of a Showgirl is going to be the perfect example of how she's going to navigate her relationship with Travis in the public eye, while also still being somewhat of a diaristic and confessional songwriter. Life of a Showgirl, to me, my hunch from the beginning is that there's going to be not much Travis content on it other than I love you, Travis. It's going to be more about, like, her perception of self, her idea of who she is to the public, what she means in the public conversation. Elizabeth Taylor, The Fate of Ophelia, like, these things are pretty clear in and apparent. And I don't see why she can't do more character studies and do more concept records. Everybody underestimates Taylor's capacity for creative transformation. And that is something that I am never worried about with her. Like subject matter is almost immaterial to me because I know that it is her lens and her way of observing life and moving through it is what makes her songs interesting. It's not the subject matter itself. It's not the heartbreak. It's not the muse. It's not the person. Those things can, of course, like heighten your interest in something and make it feel more gamified and like it's lore for you to pick and choose and understand and decode. But at the end of the day, the songwriting itself is immune to the changes of the particulars in Taylor's life. Her own heart is the muse. And that heart can be broken in so many different kinds of ways. And it can also be put back together in so many different kinds of ways. So I'm not really worried about her becoming boring. I'm interested to see where this is going to go. And The Life of a Showgirl, I think, is going to give us a really good indication of how things might be now going forward. So another question was, does the engagement make you more or less hopeful about the album? More hopeful. More hopeful. I think that we're going to be getting a really considered, thoughtful, taut, concise pop memento. And I don't know that we would have got that if she had some sort of like big open-hearted gash to write and be concerned about. If you think about it, if Tortured Poets Department, for example, like say Taylor and Travis are together forever, we love them, they never ever break up, they never have an issue. If Tortured Poets Department is the final album that we got about Taylor Swift's heartbreak, think about what a fitting, sprawling, and perfect conclusion that is to her project. It is so honest. It is so open. It is so rambling. It is so transparent. It is so embarrassing. It is so imperfect. It is so messy. It is so raw. Like that really is the apex of what a Taylor Swift broken heart can look like, all the different shapes and forms that it could take. Maybe her subconscious was like really trying to get every last drop of that experience out of her as she was experiencing it for the last time. I'm really into like the subconscious and woo-woo psyche stuff when it comes to creativity because there's so much of it that like can't be explained away by the phenomena that we see in the world. So I think that Taylor also is very in tune with her intuition and her subconscious. She writes so many songs in the middle of dreams, for example. What if we looked at Tortured Poets as one of the last statements made from a brokenhearted Taylor Swift or a brokenhearted Taylor Swift in a romantic love context? What if that was the final piece? And if that was the final piece, I'm kind of saying the breadth of that experience that has been cataloged from debut until Tortured Poets is so vast that perhaps for now, there is nothing else to share about that specific kind of an experience. And I'm okay with that. And that's why my long-winded answer, that is why I'm excited for The Life of a Showgirl. Does that make sense? What is the best Taylor wedding song? It's not Lover, let me tell you that. And she wrote that with the intention of it being a wedding song, which is why I reject it entirely. To me, I think that the songs that I was drawn to when I first heard about the engagement, Love Story, but of course, it's such a romantic song. And it's so sweet that things have come full circle in that way. I also thought of Long Story Short, not as a wedding first dance song, but it is kind of a wedding song. The song that really, I think, is one of the most romantic songs she's ever written and is so beautiful and simple, and I think really applies to her and Travis now is Invisible String. This idea that like fate will eventually lead you to where you belong and will bring you to your person if you simply trust the process. There are going to be so many moments in time where you could have overlapped and you didn't, and like missed connections or collisions. But at the end of the day, like there is a master plan that has you and your heart and your love in mind and wants you to be happy and to achieve your goal, whatever that goal may be. Doesn't necessarily need to be a romantic goal. But the idea that there is an invisible string that is throughout our entire life taking us exactly where we're supposed to be, it's comforting. That's a comforting idea. And I think it's also for Taylor a torturous idea because the inverse of invisible string is the prophecy. The prophecy is about fate and destiny being something that she dreads, not something that she trusts. There's a peace in invisible string. There's a knowledge and a wisdom that everything works out for the best. And in the prophecy, Taylor is saying, I don't want to wait and see anymore. I want to control my fate because it is simply too painful to watch the ways in which I have to collapse over and over again before I find my person. Like, am I ever just going to stop hurting is the question there. And I think that coming back to Invisible String is so sweet. Like those two songs are sister songs. And the line that feels most accurate to where Taylor Swift is right now in her life, emotionally and like as a public figure is cold was the steel of my axe to grind for the boys who broke my heart. Now I send their babies presents. It's like, I have gone through all this strife and all this turmoil, and now I get to do me. Now I get to be happy. And I think that's also why the master recordings, her getting to have ownership of that again this year, all of the things are aligning in a way where Taylor is able to put that axe that she's had to grind with so many people down for a while. I think she's basically been running defense since Reputation happened in one way or another, whether it's the master spat, whether it's breakups, she's really been kind of put through the ringer again. And it seems to me that she's taken a breath, even in that interview for the New Heights stuff. Like she just seems relaxed and more at ease with herself. And I love to see it. Someone said her music narrative is over. So where do we go from here? What are you talking about? Literally, what are you talking about? What music narrative being over? We said this when Lover came about, and then we got Folklore and Evermore, two of the most well written fictional documents of her artistry that we've ever received. So I really, really strongly, for all the reasons I've already stated, reject the idea that her musical narrative is over, that her creative potential is somehow lesser because she is in love. I think that happiness is a very fruitful source of inspiration as well. And we over glamorize torture, we over glamorize sadness and distress. We don't often examine the very different ways in which happiness can take form and what happiness as a force can do for you in the rest of your life. So I'm excited to see that. Again, I'm not worried about the creative potential at all. Will this impact how she writes about her relationship going forward in the future? I think for sure a major shift that we can predict is I don't expect that we're going to be getting in real time dissections of what goes on behind closed doors with Travis. No relationship is easy. No relationship is perfect. And Taylor has at times tried to write through that. And I think that if you really want to protect something, she knows the answer to this. If you really want to protect something, if you really want to keep it to you and keep it private, you can't be doing the diaristic confessional songs that hint at a sense of disruption or a fissure or a break. You either need to really successfully couch it in fiction and make it very clear that that's what it is, or you need to be open to the fact that putting the music out like that and having the story up for consumption, up for sale, that does something to a relationship. And she has already kind of opened it in a way that I wasn't sure she was going to by sharing the information in this way, exposing their dynamic that she did in the interview. There isn't a layer of privacy here that I think would really prohibit her from writing about it entirely. But I think if she wants to keep it healthy and keep it strong and keep it forever, then it probably would be a good idea not to like in real time write about the experiences that they're having. But also like Taylor is less accountable than she ever has been to like the press or the media. She doesn't have to explain herself. So if she does want to put out an album that is really confusing, such as Midnights, for example, that is obfuscating a lot of what's actually going on, the gag is that most people just won't get it anyway. Like people weren't really getting that Midnights was a breakup album about Joe. And I don't care what any of you pretend Nostradamuses want to say. You might have picked up on a scent of something in one or two of the songs, but it wasn't an obvious obfuscation that she was doing there. Neither was it true when Folklore and Evermore happened. She burst the bubble with Torture Poets by directly correlating a lot of different stars and breadcrumbs that had been left throughout the discography. I think she will have to be a little bit more careful and a little bit more selective about what she shares, but I don't think that she can't share at all. I think that she will find a way. It's just going to be different. And also maybe like diaristic confessional songwriting, again, that doesn't have to always be her thing forever. And she has proved many, many times over that that is not the only thing that she is competent and capable of. So I'm not worried. All right, these are some of the questions that I think were more kind of like directed to me. As someone who has witnessed her love journey from the beginning, how are you feeling? I'm feeling a little overwhelmed, you know? I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. I have been so deeply invested in this story of Taylor Swift, and it's not necessarily the story of her finding a man and getting married. That's not the story I've been invested in. The story that I've been invested in is Taylor searching for the union of two minds and searching for a home in another person. And I think that that can take so many different shapes. She has found home in many different kinds of people, her friends, her family, uh, in her career and her achievements. But the kind of main goal I think that she has been working out and working towards is understanding really what love is. How can I experience love in a way that feels good and makes me feel whole and makes me feel seen and safe and protected and like I am the best version of myself? How do I find someone that facilitates me moving through this world in the most easy and empowered way possible? And to see her finally achieve that, it does definitely feel like the end of an era, like a chapter is well and truly closed. And that is a little bit hard to swallow because I have been so invested in like the foibles over the years. And I think it's been so fascinating to just look at through the music I'm talking about, like lyrically, to look at the evolution in the way that she has like approached love and all the different ways she's tried to go about having relationships in the public eye. So I am very happy and relieved to see her in this scenario. But I guess I am also like, yeah, I'm very confident in her creative abilities, but I am a little bit worried about like, am I going to still feel like I know her? Am I still going to feel like, and I don't know her. That's the thing. This is the parasocial of it all. I don't know her, but I feel like I know a version of her through song. And I wonder if she becomes more distant, will she feel more far away? And will it then be harder for me to feel the closeness that I feel that enables me even to do this? That is something that did cross my mind. But again, like my overwhelming sensation is like one of happiness. Like at the end of the day, I want Taylor Swift to be happy. I love her. I love her. At the end of the day, I say Tay billionaire, I say landfill queen, I say stop with the variance, but what I mean is hand heart, and I'm hand hearting. Do you think Travis's amuse will get old like the turkey? I mean, Who said that the muse was old? I mean, it kept getting more and more interesting. When did it stop being interesting is my question. Midnights is a deeply fascinating album, and that's really when it started to go wrong. It was interesting at the beginning when it was kind of rocky. It was interesting in the middle when it was kind of on and off again. It was interesting when it was really on the rocks. And even on Tortured Poets, when she had come to the conclusion about it, the final song, I guess that you could say directed towards him, So Long London, was still interesting. So it's not really about the muse. It's about like what the muse prompts in Taylor. Again, we need to decenter the men. It's never about the purses. It's about how Taylor responds to the purses. And anyone that provokes a strong emotion in Taylor is going to yield an interesting creative reaction. Clearly, clearly Travis is provoking some very strong emotions in Taylor because she's going to get married to him. So I think that he is going to continue to become a more and more interesting muse as time goes on. And I am personally seated and ready to see how that evolves. I don't think it's going to get old. And also, if it gets old, she'll switch to another muse. And I don't mean she's going to break up with him. I mean, she'll figure out something else interesting and inspiring to write about. Predictions on Taylor's life as a pop star versus settling down and getting married. I think it's interesting that she is like hard launching the next era of who she is as a person, as in tied to someone else forever, while she's also reverting back into a mode of pop stardom that was like famously characterized by her being single and being a girl boss and taking over the world and having this kind of like ruthless maniacal approach to controlling her public image and being the most successful person in the world. It seems to me that she is relaxing a little bit and loosening her grip. Everything about the Life of a Showgirl rollout is more kind of like, I have an album coming out rather than like the world is about to change. And it seems that she's proud of it and she's very focused on it. And she's obviously, taking her moments to be a showgirl. But there is something a little bit more relaxed about the way that this album rollout is transpiring that is interesting to me. And do I see her eventually taking time off? I do. I see her taking time off to like have a break, be a person. It seemed that she really enjoyed the time off that she took here. And I think she needs time off from like the churn of pop star. She's never really had proper time off from that to explore other creative endeavors. We know the movie is on the back burner, and I think that might come on the front burner very soon. Maybe like in this next stage of her life with Travis, she wants to focus on different creative endeavors. She's definitely expressing more of an interest in fashion lately. Like, who knows what she could do? I don't think music is ever off the table for her. Like, I don't think that Tay retirement is coming anytime soon, but I could see a Tay pause, and she deserves a Tay pause if she wants one. How much do you relate to Taylor's love life? Enough with Swiftologist. Let's be Zachologists for a sec. Not at all. Not at all. She's a pathological people pleaser. If anything, I have a more of an avoidant attachment style. So I really don't relate to Taylor's experiences in love. I sometimes relate to her experiences of delusion in love, but like the particulars of how she's gone about conducting herself in relationships, not relatable to me. What do you think makes Travis the one compared to her other purses? Well, he can match her freak. That's the most important thing. I think that he is as accomplished as she is in his own right, like in his field, and his ambition and his like hunger to keep being the best, I think is something that Taylor recognizes and appreciates. I also think that she might have for a while thought that it needed to be a one-to-one comparison. Like I need to date a musician or someone in the creative field, someone that's as good as I am at what I do and understands exactly what it is. It's probably more fun for her to come home and like learn all about this like new amazing thing that Travis accomplished for the first time from him instead of having a lot of knowledge about what he does already and like comparing and contrasting the way that her success like mirrors his or eclipses his in whatever way. Because it's not a one-to-one comparison, I think that they're able to have this like remove from each other's professional life that is really healthy for a relationship. For example, Travis doesn't know the song Red and Taylor was like, it's okay, you don't need to. It's none of your business. Like I'ma do me, you dance to Blank Space and Shake It Off in style and you clap and cheer to every song that I play you and you say that it's great. And that's kind of all that I need you to do. And I think that she sees him not necessarily as like her intellectual equal, but like as her general like partner. It doesn't matter whether they're interested in the same things. You know how to bowl. I know Aristotle. Taylor might be reading and he might be playing ping pong. And that doesn't matter. It doesn't make him any less of an appropriate or well-matched or well-respected partner in her eye. I think people get really like upset when people say like, oh, Taylor is kind of like out freaking Travis on the intellect scale. And I think that that's just objectively true. And that's also not a knock to Travis at all. Clearly, he's good at and intelligent at different things. They are completely separate in their mastery and skill in their domain. And I think that mirrors into their personal dynamic as well, which is my very armchair analysis assumption of what I think makes him an interesting and obviously the most interesting muse that's ever happened to her. How do you think Tree Payne feels knowing that the Kelce family always talks to the media and that she and Taylor can no longer control the narrative with an outspoken partner? I think at this point now, Tree Payne is probably looking at it now as Taylor and Travis are a joint partnership. Tree is not like a force external to Taylor. Tree works for Taylor, right? So Taylor has decided that she's going to merge her life with this person. He is now immediately 50% of the brand. Unfortunately, for whoever thinks that that's a bad idea, he is now an accessory. He is potentially a muse. He is going to be someone that is featured heavily in like various different aspects of her work. Also, he is a useful tool in promoting and proliferating the Taylor Swift work, the Taylor Swift myth. So, if anything for Tree Paine, this has made her job a lot easier. It's a lot easier to drum up interest in a relationship than it is to drum up interest in an album. It is. Not that it's hard to drum up interest in an album for Taylor Swift, but like people are naturally interested in relationships, specifically this one that Taylor has because of all the different kind of like patriarchal and heteronormative like norms that it strikes. So trying to get people excited about Taylor's work through her relationship is an extremely easy task. If anything, this has relieved Tree of the burden of like having to conjure stuff up and try and not have bad stories come out about Taylor, like maybe dating someone that she doesn't really want to talk about yet, etc. I think it's going to reduce the amount of headaches that Tree has on a daily basis, and she's probably very ecstatic. All right, well, I think I've done enough armchair analysis, gabbing and yapping. Leave me a comment and let me know what you're making of all of this. It's a crazy time to be a Swiftie. It's a crazy time for us all to be showgirls. I'm in my showgirl era right now. I'm making emergency videos left, right, and center. I'm going on tour, and I need to see you behind the paywall. So patreon.com/astrologist for more tea. I will see you very shortly in tomorrow's podcast episode, which we have recorded a whole new segment for talking about this very subject. And also in my Sabrina Carpenter reaction on Friday. Its best friend is on its way, and I am ready for it. All right, goodbye.